over the agenda.
Sure.
We got it approved.
We have a call to order, the review and approval of the agenda, the review and approval of minutes. Unfortunately, Becky Garland is at a doctor's appointment, but she did send forward instructions and her financial report for us to review. Any public comment, which before the meeting we have not had anybody let us know. Discussion items, the social media report from Mary Ann Baker was sent forward. Updates from myself as the director. There will be nominations for the expiring board seat. Under old or new business, we'll have John give us an update from the motorcycle committee, and then the next meeting is Thursday, February the 12th, and I've been informed that the board will go into closed session to discuss personnel matters.
Okay. Do I hear approval of the agenda?
I so moved.
I second.
Okay. All right. Amy, if you will, give me a pen, Tabitha, read the minutes to us, please.
Yes, ma'am. These are the minutes for Thursday, December 11th, 2014. The board meeting was held at the courthouse at 12 North Main Street. Board members present were Harold Rogers, Connie Orr, Barry Levy, John Powell, Darlene Waycaster, and Ravonda Williams. The meeting was called to order at 3 p.m. The agenda was reviewed and a motion to approve by Harold, second by Ravonda, approved. Minutes for the November 13th meeting were read. No changes were requested. Motion to approve from John, second by Barry. The financial report was presented for the period ending November 30th and updated through the current day. And that report will be attached to the minutes. Becky introduced and gave an explanation for the budget amendment to align the budget with the state statute in regards to administrative expenses. She then discussed a salary assessment she completed on that budget line item. Becky and Kim Crisp discussed how the county is putting in an application with the state of Franklin to see if it could offset our staffing shortage. It's an elderly work assistance program. Lastly, Becky thanked Ron and Nancy Johnson for providing a list of cabins not collecting occupancy taxes. Becky and staff are in the process of sending out letters to the individuals and businesses who were behind late with taxes to get compliant with occupancy tax collections. The letter will have a 10-day deadline to reply to the finance officer. Connie brought up for a vote a motion to pay the Blue Ridge Parkway advertising bill that was listed in the budget. Ravonda made the motion, Darlene second, unanimous. Then Connie brought up for a vote the budget amendment number 1, motion made by Harold, John second, unanimous. Connie then asked the board if they would like to have the North Carolina legislature bring Graham County into alignment with the other counties and adopt 153-A as our governing occupancy tax law. Motion made by Barry, second by John, unanimous. Connie will bring this issue before the Graham County Commissioners for action at the next meeting. Public comment. No one signed up for public comment, but Nancy Johnson asked to speak. Connie Orr asked Kim about the rules, and Kim said if the board wants to allow it. The board was fine with Nancy making her comment. Nancy wanted to bring to the board's attention that this was the 5th meeting that Beth Fields had missed, and that would the board consider replacing her with an accommodations owner. Connie read from Article 3, Section 2 of the Rules and Procedure. Kim Crisp, clerk for Graham County, took the floor to clarify the appointment of Darlene Waycaster. Appointment is what happened, not transfer of seat as a board member in the county minutes dated April 2012. She also clarified that Ravonda Williams was appointed by the commissioners to replace the vacant seat, county minutes January of 2013. Connie opened the floor for folks to discuss Beth's circumstances. Ravonda mentioned that Beth was not at the meeting today due to a medical emergency. Connie said the board would entertain discussions on this subject matter and make the decision at the next board meeting. Under discussion items and the social media report, Mary Ann Baker passed out a copy of the social media report for the month of November. She has filled in some back history for viewing. She discussed demographics of our Facebook and Instagram accounts and who our fans are. She pointed out the top 10 cities of where our fans are located, with most cities being located in North Carolina and Tennessee. She then moved to discuss what posts were receiving the highest engagement ranking. Most popular post was the Cherahela Hoarfrost, Thunder Mountain General Store's New Hours, and the Cheowa Lake video that Mary Ann took back in the fall, which was a 20-second video. As far as promotions in the coming months, not strong travel months, but she will feature activities and events that are happening in the winter months with a focus on Valentine's Day travel specials. She will also use the new feature button that Nancy Johnson set up on the website for wintertime lodging. Tabitha thanked Mary Ann for assisting her with the monthly newsletter going out to potential guests. For the director's update, Tabitha shared that wintertime hours for the visitor center were 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Joy will work 3 days per week, and Tabitha will continue to work 40 hours per week. When Tabitha is in the office and Joy is off, the flashing open sign will signify that the center is open. Tabitha then guided the board to review the stat sheet for website analytics and rankings and leads dated July 1st through December 1st. Report is being completed on the 1st and 15th of each month. The events calendar meeting took place with Visit NC link. We should be able to update the website calendar and other area calendars without having to do multiple entry work, huge time saver. The Comprehensive Travel and Tourism Plan had its second feedback meeting, and there were 13 in attendance. The survey that went out for community feedback had between 400 and 500 responses. The next meeting will be in January. Invitation and location will be announced shortly. Tabitha continues to build her database for media partners. Establishing the database will allow Graham County Travel and Tourism to get press releases, event calendars, and other items of interest out to folks who write stories, blogs, radio, TV, etc. Tabitha continues to work with TripInfo in regards to group travel, hoping to have a website tab for ease of use. She continues to look into possible retail vendors for items to sell at the visitor center. She's finishing up pitch sheets for the upcoming Visit NC media tour. Tabitha is designing conversion study for lead brochures mailed out to see if they actually converted to a vacation in Graham County. Tabitha continues to explore and expand our digital footprint through social media engagement, networking, group boards, and touring clubs. Discussion about a rally race are slow moving because of logistics, spectator viewing, and safety issues. Tabitha shared the county's brochure insert and the need to reprint for spring and upcoming travel shows. The cost to reprint was cut almost in half from the original printer. Discussion revolved around auditing the brochure for tax payment compliance. Tabitha also shared the Cherahela brochure and padded road maps will need to be reprinted for the spring, and will put that out for printing bid. Tabitha then discussed the upcoming spring motorcycle promotion and recommended that we form a committee to start planning the promotion and hammer out the details. Connie assigned the committee to John Powell, Ravonda Williams, Becky Garland, Donna Cody, and Greg McCoy from the Hub. John Powell will be the chair of this committee. Meetings to take place at the county manager's office. Under old business, job description, Connie asked the board to turn to the job description in their packet. This job description was pulled from the state, and the board needs to spend some time reviewing and making changes so it fits Graham County and its tourism growth needs. Connie will set a workshop meeting for January to fine-tune the description. Under leads generation and use, Tabitha explained to the board that one of our accommodation partners reached out to GuestQuest to find out if it was okay for Graham County Travel and Tourism to share their leads with other businesses in Graham County. Tabitha discussed the matter with Donna Cody when the problem first came up, and as long as the contract that Graham County T&T signed did not say anything about us not sharing the leads, then we should be fine. GuestQuest was concerned and emailed us a copy of their user agreement. Nancy Johnson stated that GuestQuest wasn't aware of how Graham County was using the leads. Nancy then shared that Fontana Village Resort has been receiving the leads since July of 2013. The board asked why I only shared the leads with them, and Tabitha commented they were the only businesses that had requested leads so far. Donna Cody will look into the situation and get back with the board. For now, the leads will be held from sharing until given a directive. Sharing leads was okayed by Donna Cody. Grand County TNT will prepare a disclaimer for use of leads of a positive nature promoting lodging in Grand County, etc. Under phone expense, Ravonda questioned the phone expense line item and how, if projected forward, we will be over budget. Becky Garland explained this line item pays for the phone line and DSL internet expenses. Connie asked if the board would like to make a motion to pull funds from the contingency fund to the phone expense budget line. Harold made a motion, John second, unanimous for this managerial amendment. Board will sign off on the amendment at next board meeting. Visitor Center. John asked if there had been any additional discussion about moving the Visitor Center to the Sheriff's Office. Connie will look into it. Motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:35 p.m. by Ravonda, second by Darlene. The next meeting is held at 3 p.m. Thursday, February 12th, with location to be announced, and the meeting can be viewed at that link. Any changes need to be made?
Yeah. On the first page,
Yes,
Connie opened the floor folks to discuss Beth's circumstances. Ravonda mentioned that Beth was not at today's meeting due to a medical emergency. Connie said the board would entertain discussions on this subject matter and make a decision at the next board meeting. What I did was decline to take any action until we had the facts on whatever extenuating circumstances might have been. And I also reviewed the rules of procedures that said there could be a recommendation of removal if the board, as a majority, recommended that to the Board of County Commissioners, but it is not a mandate.
okay. And from my copy here, I should be able to get all that verbiage in there, and then to have folks stop by and sign, and then I can get you to sign it lastly at the
That'd be
Veterans
fine.
Office. Okay. Anybody else?
Tabitha, I wasn't at the last meeting, but on the last page where it says the next meeting will be at 3 p.m. on Thursday, February 12th, I think you meant January.
Thank you, yeah.
It's the 8th. The day's please too.
That mind gets going ahead and wants to get there
Yeah, we
fast,
don't
doesn't it? Anybody else?
The day needs to be changed too.
Which one's
To the
that?
8th.
The 12th, yeah.
Yeah.
Needs to be the 8th.
January 8th, yes, okay. Anything else? Going once, going twice? Okay, I'll make those changes and then I'll send everybody an email when you're in town. If you'll just stop by and sign them, that way I can then get the copy over to the county manager's office.
Okay. Do we have anyone sign? We won't have the financial report today, but we will.
I have it to pass out.
That's
by
fine.
instruction.
And we will be discussing some of it in closed session, okay?
There is nobody signed
Okay.
for today.
All right, then that will take us to discussion item, social media report. You have a handout on that, Jose?
Mhm. If you will flip back or the 5th page, Mary Ann apologizes for not being able to attend, but she did have a conflicting meeting, a meeting that she had set up before she started coming to our meetings. On her front page there, the progression of the Facebook fans, she wanted me to point out to you guys that we are just shy of the 5,000 mark, of 5,000 fans on Facebook, so that was very interesting. And then she also put a short bullet pointed item for you guys to review at your leisure. And then I can go We are finishing up some of the renewals for Smoky Mountain Host, the booklet that they print out, getting events out to magazines and media, and we're continuing to do entry of events for the calendar. We've had leads go out twice so far. That was on December 16th and January 5th, and they will be sent out when I do the stat sheets at the beginning and the middle of the month, because it's a good reminder, since I have to write on the stat sheet how many leads we've gotten anyway. The leads group that we have so far only consists of Fontana Village Resort, the River's Edge Tree Houses, and Cherahela Vacation Rentals. Those are the only 3 entities that have requested leads so far. We have audited the accommodation insert, and with that project came some clarification for a couple of partners. For instance, Simple Life Campgrounds, when he originally got set up with us, campgrounds did not fall under the occupancy tax, but once Becky and I went to that training last April, anytime that you sell a structure that has 4 walls and a roof, you have to collect occupancy tax. So Becky and him discussed, and he's gonna be getting compliant with us. There was a number of some of these cabins have one number because there's multiple listings underneath their number. So let's say if you're assigned number 200, but you manage 3 houses. Some people might have thought that house might not have been paying. And so we're gonna try and get our list connected with Becky's list to be sure that the owners and nicknames and numbers all match up, so people don't think that some of these places are not paying. There are about 5 folks that are on our website that have collected taxes, but for whatever, when Nancy and I kind of went through when they signed up, there wasn't a way for myself or Becky to know about a new partner being listed. Now an email generates to all 3 of us, so Becky can assign a number, and then I can also put them on Visit and See. So there's about 5 people that we're giving them a number so they can go ahead and pay the taxes that they've collected. And then there's about 7 folks that we've sent emails out to about, you didn't file a non-compliant tax report, did you sell the property, is it managed by somebody else? You know, tell us your story so we can get this straightened out and we don't have to go to some next steps. So this insert did not get accomplished, nor do I feel comfortable right now getting it accomplished. We missed that RV travel show in Florida, but there's more travel shows that contractor's gonna be doing in the spring, so we're just gonna have to pause on this, but as soon as we get that figured out with these last 5 to 7 people, then we can go forward with this, getting this insert completed and get it reprinted for inside our county brochure.
Do you have a time frame?
I really would like to say tomorrow, because that's how important it is, but, you know, I have part of the problem is with holidays and sickness. I didn't get a lot of people responding back to my emails, so we'll be sending out or trying to call again. Probably calling, not emailing at this point. And then once I get that information, then getting with Becky and company to get that straightened out in the records, or get a letter out to them and make them aware of the rules and responsibilities for being an accommodation partner, again, the education piece.
2 weeks, 1 month, 6 weeks?
I'd say 2 weeks. If you'll turn in your packet, what I decided to do on this one, the top sheet is your July through January 5th, and your second one is the one previous that was in your packet from last month. And what I wanted to kind of do today is just point out a couple of things. If you'll kind of just look at my highlights here real quick on this sheet, because I'm going to be pointing out a couple of these items real quick to you, some highlights on this sheet. Underneath the July 1st, January 5th, on the left, there's a column. The second thing down is on the Alexa ranking. our global ranking right now is 741,509. If you'll flip to that next page, you'll see just not even 15 days ago, we were 332,907. So this is how fast things can change out there with technology with your ranking. If you look at the trending on the back page of all of our competitors with us, everybody's ranking tended to fall because, again, it's not a time where there's not a lot of activity of people going to our websites here in the wintertime. So we weren't the only ones that fell. There was just about all of our travel and tourism competitors fell as well. If you go down to social media, which is about the 5th thing down, there's the Facebook number as of the 5th. It was 4934. I think it's 4980 something right now. And if you'll stretch all the way over there to the right-hand side, the top 3 engagements for the past 15 days has been the repost of the Tail of the Dragon, which had 6,200 engagements. The Bear Creek Cove Cabin post that we had was number 2, and the Valentine's Day promotion was 2,200 people. If you go down further on the page, looking on the left, almost to the bottom where it says leads and referrals, YesQuest, the total number of leads was 272, with December 17th given 109, and December 24th given 78, and December 31st getting 85. Most of those leads are in an email format, but anybody that doesn't have an email, there is an address there where you can send out addressed items. Southern Living, as we get further away from when our ad was in that magazine, which was September, the leads just kind of drop down each month as we get further away from that issue. But we still had 13 leads total come in, with 3, 6, and 4, with the dates there to the sides of them. Over there to the right, under all referrals, I did find out finally the m.facebook referral is a mobile referral. The 3rd thing down that says l.facebook is linking, and then the next Facebook is when the ad is in the left-hand column and it's a link. So those are the referrals. The bounce rate, anything above 50 is considered bad, anything below 50 is considered good. And you have to think about time on site. If you're just having somebody go look at one thing, it's going to be shorter than something that might lead them to go explore the site a little bit more. So you will see higher duration rates on some of those certain referrals because people are seeking out this information. For instance, NPS is the National Forest Service, and you'll see there that it's 247 leads so far to date. The bounce rate is 32.79, so that's really far below 50. And then the time on site when those people come exploring over in our area is 4 minutes and 59 seconds. So the higher that time is, the more engagement, and those people are really seeking us out. So that's a little bit on the stats and how to kind of go through those as you're looking and why we're looking at those things. The comprehensive tourism plan, the 3rd meeting is set for this coming Monday. You do have an invitation here in your packet right after the minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So this meeting will be Monday the 12th. It'll be at 5 p.m. at the Stocoa Valley Center. And if you do not have anything planned, I would really strongly suggest that the board come and get engaged in this meeting especially. The subject matter that we're going to be discussing is the survey that the tourism stakeholders filled out and returned. This is the one that we have between 400 and 500 responses. And the discussion is going to revolve around the advantages possessed by similar destinations and the resources required to become competitive with them And it is gonna be led by Chris Kavanaugh, who is our facilitator for that.
Is that our RDA meeting?
Yeah, it's supposed to be
Monday, no?
at 6.
I can record that too on my recorder and just send you guys a copy of it so you can at least hear it. And I think I can do that for all the board members in case if your job or a family or medical or whatever keeps you from coming to some of these, I'll remember to start doing that. I just wanted to, Joy Conley wanted me to send you some feedback from her position as hostess, as I told her I was putting my update together, and she wanted to commend the River's Edge Tree Houses for the use of the visitor center. She said that she's told time and time again from the folks that come in there that Doug and Layla sent us, and they asked to speak to you. So they're really doing a good job of using the visitor center as part of their operating procedure of getting people plugged into the community and getting all the information that they need while they're here. And she did want me to share that with you guys.
I will share one more thing
Yes.
about Doug and Layla. They attended our last Board of Commissioners meeting as well, and expressed their gratitude. They really appreciated that our Economic Development Director, Andy, had really been a hands-on help to them throughout their process, and had gotten them, literally, they said he got us where we want to be, so.
Yeah.
That was good to hear.
And he has been great with even the Weirling Honey people and a few other
Mhm.
operations looking to expand and do some things.
He
so.
has more contacts than most of the economic development directors in the state, and I met with the new Board of Commissioners over in Clay County, and they got their eye on it, so.
Oh, wow.
So we're gonna try to keep him.
No,
Okay.
Well, before I go into a couple of these things with Becky and, let me just finish checking off a couple of things here. I do apologize. That's okay. With vacation days, and I did go through a bout of this flu, laryngitis, followed by a cold, that I still am just kind of the throat part of it. So if I sound a little hoarse, I'm sorry. It was a shorter month for getting work done than, the regular months that we have. But we have a couple of invoices. I'm gonna pass you guys out the financial reports for your viewing, and then I'm gonna start Becky's, what she has asked me to say. I have scripts. One for each board member and the remainder of the audience. So if you guys will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take one pass down, okay. Would any of you like? Pass that down there. And if there's certain things in there that you like to look at, you're more than welcome.
And they gave us amendments on too.
Yeah,
Sure.
this
Okay.
is,
We need 2
need
copies.
signatures to make official. Board members get copies, you need 2 signed copies.
I've got
This is-
one, if you give me one more, we'll get those
Okay,
passed down the line.
and I do have a blue pen.
Okay, got that one right here.
Do you have one? If you need a blue pen down through there, I've got another one. So this is the amendment that you voted on last meeting that we're signing right now. And each of you are entitled to a copy of this too. Just a copy for you. Thank you, sir. Now, if you'll pass one on over to Harold too. Thank you. Put this with Darlene's and.
those two.
It's on something. Yeah, I bugged him a bit, yeah, I seen it. Yeah, I seen it. But you wanna move that?
Yeah, that was,
Break
yeah,
it down a little while.
And you guys will take one of
You're
these and
saying
pass
what
that
you're
down.
saying.
yeah, but that, the current was $2,000 and that was up on one.
You have to sign it in blue though.
Hmm.
Do,
Yeah, it has to be in blue. I do.
That's fine.
Money's they spend.
Okay.
One side. Sent up. That's what we're talking about.
yeah, right there.
Twice.
Yeah. That's what I said, this is what this is.
Oh, you got to sign it too, yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Billy's got to sign it.
Oh, we didn't sign it. Got one more.
Just sign it, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Looks great this year. 55% come next year.
Well, that's what I did, the sun.
And as soon as you
That's gotta
guys,
come this way.
Oh, back that
yeah,
way
as
again?
soon as you guys get done signing all of them,
Oh, it's
we'll
two
send
of
the
them.
signature pages back this way, so
They're
Connie
gonna
can
be
give them to me for the
We
folder.
didn't do
I sent a blue pen down that way, Connie.
Okay.
But here's gonna be the
But
next
this
one.
is,
it's
We'll
gonna
get
be a
it started as I read my
This
script.
Yeah, that's just your copy, Carol. These are the two originals we have to sign.
Or Harold, just keep those down there and I'll come get them from you.
Well, yeah, that, on the motorcycle,
yeah,
yeah, that's an issue.
yeah, okay.
We'll address that.
Okay. This next, budget amendment is number 3. This is a proposed budget amendment for advertising for last fiscal year. The authority did not receive this bill until November, and it's because this company did an audit and they found that we had not paid our bill. This was the AAA Go magazine that was approved last spring, and they found where this bill had not been approved. The finance officer cannot legally pay it unless the board reappropriates the funds from the fund balance because the books have already been closed and audited as of June 30th, 14. This amendment would allow the finance officer to pay the bill. So that is the, if you need to see a copy of the bill, I can send that down through there. And that is what this budget amendment 3 that you're signing is for paying that amendment, or paying that invoice.
How much was that, Dan?
This one is, yeah, 3,000, thank you. And a copy for each of you also, so sorry.
Now, that was a part of the budget. Is that my understanding?
That's my understanding.
It was an opportunity that made itself available because it was a remnant space, and when I presented the information to the board, they decided that they wanted to capitalize on a cheaper space because it's usually like a $5,000 or $6,000 ad that we got at 50% off.
Okay, and we have that.
We had the
in there,
monies because we had carry forward money.
And that is documented
Yes, it is.
in the minutes.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I did already provide those to Becky, so she's got it together in her items. Okay, so Harold, I'll come get those things from you in
Yeah,
just a
right.
few minutes after they work their way down there. So you should have 2 of budget 2 and budget 3.
Yeah.
And did we send the minutes down through there too?
Well, we were gonna make those changes.
Okay,
and
that's
then-
right, sorry about that, thank you.
So are there 2 originals coming this way?
2 originals of number 2 and 2 originals of number 3 should make their way down through there.
Yeah, I want to know when was that?
It
When
was
was this
the
bill?
AAA, the bill.
Oh, it was
The invoice or whatever you want to call it.
5/12 of 2014, that would have been May.
Since we had
AAA
leftover
of
monies.
Carolinas.
That's
John,
why.
right
we
here.
I
took
don't
advantage of
recall
it.
that, to tell you the truth, but we can certainly go back and review it. and
Let me see if I can.
I've got a
get you
question.
to bring the minutes over.
how does AAA, you know, I mean, what interest does Graham County have in advertising in AAA?
It's the AAA Go magazine, it's the travel magazine
It's
for the
this
Carolinas.
Okay.
When
And
you,
it's the,
when you get old and you have AAA, you get that every month.
Oh,
And
yeah, I can't
honestly,
wait.
you know, I'm not,
I thought that was art.
yeah, kind of. I don't have a recollection of the minutes, but Billy has them here in his hand. But I have had several, elderly, like me, AAA, holders in this county come and say to me, why in the world don't you advertise in, Go Magazine?
Do you understand how expensive it is?
Well, no, they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
But I have had that brought to me, and like I said, Billy's got all the minutes,
Oh, I
so we'll
see.
He
find
has up
it.
until,
I got
I think,
this
January
one.
for
CRA?
this year.
Yeah.
That's what Kim told me.
Yeah,
to
you
put
can
for
look
this
in there, I don't
year.
think that's.
And I don't think
Yeah.
Becky might have a copy of the April, May, should be right around
We
there.
need April, May, I'll see if Kim can bring them over.
I get it. Sometimes I do, but usually
And
they're right
Beth,
here,
Do
so.
you have the minutes showing where we,
Yeah.
in your pile of
Yes.
stuff?
Do you know,
It would have been April
So
or
it's
April or
May.
May,
Uh,
more than
14.
likely.
What is it, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah, I-
NC State?
Thank you.
I don't know, I don't. Okay.
Do you have a copy of that?
Back at my
Oh,
desk,
state,
I have
whatever.
copies of everything. It was in the partner meet and greet too, so yeah. Because I gave that out in June at the partner meet and greet. I should have a copy of that in here. It was basically a picture of the front of our brochure, because we all kind of ended up liking the way that turned out.
You know, I gotta ask, what's their circulation? I mean, I know we're
It's
rehashing this,
huge.
but
It's in the millions.
there it is.
yeah, okay, so that was the one.
And how many times does this run?
Just
For
once.
For $3,000?
Turn it
Yeah,
around, John.
usually it's $6,000.
That doesn't matter. You know,
One time.
it's right here.
Really?
It's like it's like a sixth of a page. Really. You know, I'm just choking at the cost of advertising, I'm sorry. I mean, seriously.
It's 100,000 revenue.
Yeah, I wanna know, well, exactly, and I wanna know what their circulation is. That's the, you know, if it's 500,000,
Hey,
might
is
be
Kim
one
there?
thing, if it's 100,000,
Thank you.
Do you have a copy of the meet and greet that I passed out? Remember that 24-page document that I did, the presentation
Today?
to the board members in June, or to the
The
accommodation?
accommodation partners,
Oh,
I'm
I
sure I
see.
do.
Okay. April, May, March, April, May, minutes for travel and tourism. To look for an approval on a $3,000 ad to Go Magazine,
AAA Go.
AAA Go. Okay. Yeah, if you have them approving a $3,000 ad, would you bring them over? And if possible, I'm gonna need you a few minutes in the closed session, Kim, regarding the state of Franklin, March, April, or May. Yeah, it might even have been June, because the bill, well, no, it should have been June, because the bill came in for May of 2014. AAA magazine, $3,000. Mm-hmm. 3,000. You can call me back, okay? Thanks, Kim. Bye-bye.
All right, so we'll move on to another subject matter till that comes, Connie.
Okay, let me just skip over to old business for a second. I promised that I would talk to the board and to our new sheriff and his department about using a portion of that building as a visitor center, and the answer was a resounding no. right now, our law enforcement officers throughout
Yeah.
the United States, and not just there. We've just had this fiasco happen in France. They're under duress, they're under attack, and, you know, I guess it's just a really good time to let us know that that's a really bad idea. So that was a no, and we'll
that
just
was-
move forward with our
That was my.
building committee
Yeah, I told Connie
and
too,
our,
as the attorney, that I.
shows, and I'm looking forward to our next budget hearing session, and I hope to be there, so you all can beat me up the side of the head when we don't get it right, okay? But I so appreciate the work y'all spend at it, and I support your budget, and anytime we deviate from that, I really wanna know some solid reasons why.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. If we don't get you fixed, I'm worried about you. Okay, gotta do that, okay. Sorry, I know I jumped ahead a little bit on, to the old business, but I wanted to make clear that I did look into that and what the response was.
Okay. I have 2 or 3 more things as
Okay.
director's update, just to, but one of those we'll have to come back to,
Can
of
I
course.
interrupt here too, and Madam Chair, another thing about the budget is, the budget was passed in June, adopted starting July 1st. So expenditures that are already approved and in the budget, like yesterday, we got an email for a poll vote for something that was clearly already in the approved budget. So Becky was saying that she cannot make expenditures of more than $500. But if it's in the approved budget, why is that the case?
She should be able to pay it if it's in the approved budget. What
Okay,
did
it was for
pertain
the
to?
Minis on the Dragon, $2,500, and there is a
Okay.
budget line item for $5,000.
Okay,
And so like, when I've invoiced, then she pays it, so I'm not sure, there seems to be, now
Since
she's.
November, she's gun shy because of everything that's been happening, because there is something that was approved prior to me that anybody, I guess, in the county, we can only spend
That was that-
$500.
and that $9,000 bill that came through in it, and she is gun shy about that.
Yeah, so she
There's a
needs a
$9,000
directive
bill
that
turned
she
into her,
can.
and
Right, I
it
understand.
was, the number was in the budget, but not that particular item.
Okay.
So she went ahead and paid it, and,
And
and,
then I
and she
understand
took,
the
and
circumstance.
she gave herself some heat over that, so
Okay.
that's the reason for the caution now.
But could we just clarify for future that if there are line items approved in the budget, that she can write those checks?
I will talk to her about
Okay.
that, and I think
I
those
mean,
of
we need
you
to
who
pay
work
our
so
bills.
hard on the,
Yeah.
absolutely pay our.
I'm gonna make a comment,
Okay, John.
as long as there's money in the bank to pay
Mhm.
those items.
Right.
Let's just get on track with regard to our spending,
Mhm.
and we won't have these kinds of concerns. We should be running a surplus,
Right,
we should be more prudent with how much money we're spending and where we're spending it.
that's
I agree.
true.
I agree.
And-
But John, since you said it that way, where is it that we've not spent what we said we were gonna spend?
Well, you know, I can just tell you that the
That
amount of money
$9,000
that's being
was one thing,
spent,
wasn't it?
No, that was line item. Well, there was a portion of it, and that's the reason
A
why we had
portion
to
of
have
it was line
discussion.
itemed, but not the entire.
you know, I just think the amount of money that we're spending on some of this print ad is out of phase with what we should be doing.
And I would
we're gonna
agree
talk
if it were just
about
print,
that.
but again, that one thing is triple. It's a mobile, digital, and print combined for $9,000.
Well, we're gonna look at what the bottom line is next year, and we'll
So-
see if
so
that
what the
was
return is.
netted the results that we're
Mhm.
looking for. That's the bottom line. If it
And-
pays, that's
That's
great.
fine.
If
If
it
it
doesn't,
doesn't, change directions.
that's right. And I thought that we had discussed, you know, that at some of the meetings last year, that would have redirected where we're spending our money. But, you know, I'm willing to be a team player
I know, John.
as long as,
Things are
you know, we
working.
get results.
How many leads has that generated to date, Tabitha?
Right now, visitnc.com gives us 12.21% of our sessions that are visited to our website, which is 688 sessions, a bounce rate of 44.33, so it's below the 50, and the duration time on site from those type of people is 3 minutes and 26 seconds.
So those are
Talk-
pretty good
Talk layman's
numbers.
terms to me.
But if you're in travel and tourism, you have a website,
How
those
many hits
numbers
is
should
that?
make sense.
How many hits is that?
Was it over
688.
600. So it's cost us $9,000 to date for 688 hits.
Well, that's just for the website. That doesn't include the people that have asked for mailers and the people that have not
Well, it's
even let
gotta be
us know
less
at
than
all.
688.
Well, statistically, we're not sure exactly what that is. Because
How
we've
can
had
you-
people show up that, they don't tell
It's
us.
coming like $13
No,
a
no
lead.
hotel people are keeping like, they're not sending me sheets saying, here's the 100 people that we had and here's where they came from. We don't have any of that stuff in place yet. Amy
How
will get
can
there
we track that?
by getting the hotels to be compliant with maybe filling out a sheet like that for every person that comes through the door and then turning it in at the end of the month, or every 2 weeks.
What is our time frame for the ad? Is it fiscal year?
It's a
So we're
fiscal
halfway
year.
through the fiscal year?
No, this ad was for, it just kicked off January of 2015. This is the print edition of this magazine. The ad is on page 80.
So are those 688 since January?
No,
this
those
month?
are since our
Yeah.
fiscal year
Okay.
of July 1 until the present January.
So that would have
5th.
included last year's publication. They're on the
That was
calendar
the
year, we're on the
8,000.
fiscal year. So basically, we have half of a fiscal year to be able to determine at the end of that fiscal year, which would be in line with our budget workshops, what the results are.
And I do have previous year inside that. It shows the leads that were generated from Visit NC in that document that I shared at the partner meet and greet in June.
Did you need this?
Yes, I need to be able to show John the ad for,
Since I just
The
came
Go
off the board, it
magazine.
really wasn't in line because we only budgeted 6,500.
Right.
So it wasn't in line with our
no, we
budget.
needed an additional amount because we were not sure of what, having an ad in the inside of the magazine because the company would not give us the rates.
So we budgeted
It was
6,500.
only budgeted 6,500. It went up to 99.
Yeah, but there was a poll vote
9,000.
about the
There
difference
was a
in the
poll
ex-
vote, but
in-
it's
in
still
the
an
expenditure.
extra $2,500 sounds
Well,
like.
I guess the reason I'm
So, yeah.
speaking up is I voted against it, is-
You do have that.
Yeah,
Isn't that
that's
the one?
this. Mhm. That's this.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is the travel section. That's
Mhm.
our ad.
Okay.
And this had the lead sheet card. There were leads associated with this as well.
And this meeting was, you said on,
That's Socoa Valley, remember when you
That
were
was the,
sitting at the
that was
front?
the accommodation partner,
meet and greet.
where we had our first meet and greet.
okay.
And we went over the budget with the accommodation partners that were present, and this report was presented, and also, I believe, the visitor profile study report was
Mhm.
presented at that meeting.
Okay. So again, we'll just see what this nets. That's 3,000 on one shot.
Mhm.
That's, I
But
got
again, at
problems.
the end of the year, we had extra money. There is statutes that say
Could've gone
you've
to our
got
building
to.
fund. I'm
True,
I'm
but-
good with what we've done, and we'll move forward. But again, I'm pretty disappointed the fact that we're spending money in areas that is gonna generate probably very little return on investment. And that's my bottom line with
Well, you
anything
can
that we
say
do.
that, but if I show number proof different, then how am I ever gonna get you to be on my side of the
Oh.
equation?
Well, we'll
That's
see.
how you do it, the number proof.
There you go.
I know, John.
I'm a bottom line person about
Yes, sir.
it, you know.
In that report, I did show number proof.
For
The
every
referral was, the second referral was Visit NC to our website. Number two, it did pay off,
Mhm.
but you're
So we
still
got-
not a believer.
We
So-
still- well, we'll see when, when I ask everybody that
If
comes through
you
the
call
front
every
door.
travel and tourism director of the 7 counties of western North Carolina, when I ask, what is the one thing I must do getting started? You need to be in the state travel guide.
Mhm.
It's the number one thing in the advertising things that
Well, we
TNT
could have been in, we
does.
just didn't have to be on the front page or the second page. I mean, we could have been
And
in a
co-op.
$6,500, ad.
Page,
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have to spend,
the other 20.
But that was the previous fiscal year, we
9,000.
did reduce that amount. The previous fiscal year, how much was it, Tabitha? It was like double that.
No, it was about 8,000, and that's the reason why I said if we go inside the book, it would be cheaper. But this ad that's this big you don't get to put your logo, and you only got 3 lines in a picture, to spend $5,500 or $6,500 on that versus going up $2,500 more and getting a nice big presence versus, look at one of the 6-page ads, how ugly they are.
It looks like a nice ad for Fontana is what it looks like, part of Grand County.
Well, they pay for half of it,
I
Barry.
know.
But there's really,
They split the cost of the ad.
I gotta ask, is the Graham County URL in there in a really big bold? It is, but you know, it gets lost, I have to say, and look at this, GrahamCountyTravel.com, it almost gets lost in just the fact that it's Graham County. I don't know, you really have to,
We need it bolder.
you need to reach for it to get it. But, you know, again, maybe this is just, you know, water under the bridge at this point, but I wanna make a recommendation that we bring our advertising costs in line and diversify it more. You know, if you look, have you done anything with regard to, cars or motorcycles? Any advertising in any of the periodicals that are,
Everything that I have sent the board, they said no. I have tried with 6 different publications, and I was told, no, it's too expensive.
how much money are we talking about? Because the ads that I've looked at were never that much money. I mean, I was buying ads for $250 in, you know,
Well,
Backroads
when I
Magazine.
send
or-
those, I send the media kits,
Mhm.
and I point out the price for the ads.
Well,
And
who-
I've been told no.
Who comes to this
Everything I
county?
sent.
Let's just, you know, ask the question, who comes to the county and spends money?
Car clubs
That we know
and
of.
cyclists.
Well, and there's
Bingo.
more than that, because we've got the numbers to prove that now too from the visitor center. We have a variety of people coming.
Yeah, we have a variety of people, but the majority of the people that come here.
Right now, it's 60 and older, 2 people scenic drivers is what my numbers say.
It's people that stop at the visitor center for tea.
That's people that need directions,
Yeah,
precisely. You know, again, people that come here and spend money, are the people that we want. We don't need the drive-bys, the curiosity, you know, seekers. You know, and it's great that people come here and hike our trails and, you know, fish in the lakes and do that sort of thing, but the people that actually come here and stay are the people that we need to be addressing. And I just think there's a complete disconnect on who we really need to address, and the rest of the people will come.
Well, see, there's another faction, and the only reason why I say this, board, because I serve at your pleasure. The only reason why I say what I'm about to say is that there are a group of accommodation owners out there that believe the motorcycles and car clubs will come anyway, and that there doesn't need to be any more money put towards marketing, and that we need to focus on some other diversification to bring the families or weddings or groups, other than just car clubs and motorcycle tourism. John shared with us about a year ago that there were dealerships all over the United States closing. 15, 20 years from now, if that's what's happening in that industry, what are we gonna be prepared for if there's no more motorcyclists coming to the area?
Oh, that's.
did you ever watch these car
Well,
dealership
and
commercials every night?
something that-
They're in front of their face every
Something
night.
something
on
that
TV.
bothers me with what you're even saying with that is that you're talking like it's all mutually exclusive, and it's not, because at the lodge, we had a lot of the guys that would haul their bikes in, they would trailer them in, and when they were not riding, when they would get tired of riding, they would be out fishing and
Yeah,
hiking.
renting boats.
They would bring their families, and while they were riding, their families would be hiking and, you know, going up the lake and, you know, I mean, so they're not necessarily all mutually exclusive. We were worried one year because we had the Sierra Club that was to take half the lodge for a trip, a group they were bringing, and we had a car club there for the other half. And we're thinking, okay, this could really get interesting in a very good way or in a very hostile way. So, and it was great because they had so much common ground between the two groups. The two groups, it was not mutually exclusive. They got along great. There were members of the Sierra Club that were in the car club, you know, so I mean, and it worked. So it's that thinking of.
And I appreciate what you're saying,
now
I
maybe-
do.
because they're not
I'm just
mutually
trying to
exclusive.
stand up for some folks that are not here, what
Yeah.
they're asking me to
Why
express.
aren't
But they're
they
not
here?
mutually exclusive.
Because some of these people are not here this time of year, they've already moved back down to Florida.
So I mean, but it's not a mutually
We're here
exclusive
making a
thing,
living.
and that's the
Yeah.
time, but that's.
Yeah, I
the
just
time
want to
that-
address that too. This is a
Yeah.
good time to.
That's the
to-
thing you need to get away from.
You know, it's easy to spend money. It's very hard to make the money.
Exactly.
And for the people that have their skin in the game, like myself, like Barry, Nancy, Ron, Donna, you know, Bill, we've got
Hey, we have
significant
skin in the game
investments.
too, it's not,
Whoa.
all the
No.
tourism,
Whoa,
all of
wait,
the tourism.
wait, wait.
has- There's a lot of people that have skin in the game that are not motor tourists. And we're not against motor tourism. I think that the diversification, it's what you're saying, Donna, about mutually exclusive. One thing feeds to the other, and then people are coming back.
The same people that ride, just as Tom said, the same people that ride come here with their families, you know.
Yeah, and they come for a
spend money.
bluegrass show,
Yeah.
and they spend money. I
Well,
mean, I don't care how they get here either, or what they come on.
But-
But I'm just saying, it's wrong to say we're not spending money on something that clearly we have been. On this ad here, there's a motorcycle and a car club.
yeah,
It says
I'm
stay
just
in
talking about the
Fontana.
percent.
It
It
says
doesn't
stay
say
at
it, it does
Fontana.
not say stay at Fontana.
Yeah, it says stay at Fontana.
It's
Well,
our-
that
it's our
one, the
brochure.
other one that we paid $19,000 for says stay at
Going here in
Fontana.
North,
Yeah,
North Carolina.
Yeah,
Play it
and they
safe.
have the ad with us, right?
They
They
have
do.
the ad.
it doesn't stay at
It's an
Iron Horse, it
18.
says
What
stay at
I'm saying
Fontana.
is, I mean, we can spend money on advertising, but I think the proportion is out of kilter.
Well, there needs to be some workshop meetings and a marketing plan. And until we have
There we go.
that, all we're doing, each budget, all those budget workshops that we went through, and we looked at things we had done in the past, and the shows and things like that, that we all decided as a board that we would take back money from that. We all
Mhm.
decided that.
Mhm.
Everybody here voted for that, except Billy, he wasn't on the board. I'm the only person that did not sign that budget or vote for it. We need a plan, otherwise we're just throwing the money out there and seeing what sticks. And it doesn't matter if it's for motorcycles, for music, for families, for the lakes, for whatever it is. We don't have a marketing plan.
You know, I basically use my significant powers of observation, running up and down the road around here to see that cars and motorcycles are the predominant visitors to Graham County. And when I go by, you know, Lynn's Restaurant, who's parked out front?
Motorcycles,
You know,
cars.
you know, the hub, I mean, you can go down the list, and there should be way more growth than there is. You know,
I don't
to
disagree with
continue
that.
to just, again, try to sweep the guests that are coming under the rug and say you want to go get more, it's more important to keep the ones you've got
And keep them
than
coming
to
back.
go mine the ones you
agree.
don't.
Because
That's
they'll
our,
tell
dem-
their
that's our,
friends.
that's our
Yeah.
demographic, our
That's
repeat
40
visitors.
years of business experience, just talking right there.
Well, I've only been working with the travel and tourism this time. This is like, I'm starting my fourth year, I think. And I've talked to hundreds of car club members. I've talked to hundreds of motorcycle riders. And I've never been given except one answer as to how they got here. And you make a good point. We don't need to slough them under the carpet. We need to encourage them to keep coming,
Keep coming
because
back.
that's how they got here in the first place. It's either word of mouth, or my family came and I came with them. I've never heard, on the back of a motorcycle or in a car, I've never gotten any other answer. And I promise you, I've asked hundreds and hundreds of people. Car, I say, how'd you find this?
I got
It's
people that come
word of
back
mouth.
every year.
Exactly.
11 years.
Hikers are only gonna come through here once, maybe twice, which hikers really don't give a whole lot of money to.
But the expansion, what I'm
To us
saying is the
anyway.
expansion that we have has been word of mouth,
Yeah.
more than anything
But I think that's
else.
to all of the tourism demographics,
Let me-
because repeat visitation is 26% of Graham County's
Right.
tourism.
And
Yeah,
we
you know
have
who
that
that's
data in
repeating?
numbers.
But it's not just your
that's
repeat,
what
it's
they're
my
telling me.
repeat too.
Well,
At Stokoe Valley Center, that sees, 15,000 people a year.
Beth, it's not, I'm not trying to put you down.
I'm not trying to
That
put you down, I'm
that
just saying it's
Stokoe
the
Valley isn't a
diversification.
significant part of this.
I'm just saying it's the
But for the people who
diversification.
have
Contribute
spent
nothing to it.
hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to get a return on investment, we're not looking at the sometimers, we want the full-timers. We want the people that are coming here regularly.
And
And,
bringing those with them.
and here's what's happened, I'm just gonna speak to our business. It's not geometric, but it's certainly, significantly proportional that one person comes, they like it, they go back, they bring a group of people. And I can tell you that time and time again, if we have a group that decides that they don't want to come, it's immediately filled with another group that wants to come that couldn't get here. So how about having that sort of mentality as far as who's coming, who's replacing them, and who should we be spending our money, on? It's not the family, it's the groups that will make this town, this county. And, I don't know why you don't see it, because I sure do.
I do see it, but the same.
I live it.
I'm just saying the demographic, like the same people that come to the center for the music, they come back every year, word of mouth, then more people come, and then more people come. All I'm saying is it's a diversification, and without a clear marketing plan on the direction that we want to go, we are throwing the money out the window.
Well, I just think,
One thing I observed of being in real estate in Graham County during the good years and the bad years, I was in Tar Heel Realty for over 18 years, about 19. And I would say that 50% or better of the customers that come in my door looking to buy real estate were sent by somebody that you just left and loved. Word of mouth. Spent thousands and thousands of dollars in homes and magazines, all kind of ads, but it all come right back, that word of mouth. People still call me and want to say they've got friends looking for something.
So that's a good
That's free, that's cheap.
reason to focus our expenditures toward that type of,
Make people
I'll
happy.
give you
and
another,
Grace.
I'll give you another story here, I'm glad you brought that up. One of our guests, who's been coming for the last 10 years, just bought a house here and some land in Graham County. And, I think that's happened several times, actually. They didn't buy directly in Graham County, but they bought up here because they came, they liked it, and they decided that this is where they want to reside. So that's a significant win-win. Not as big as the guests that frequent Barry's and, Nancy's and my place and Snowbird and everywhere else. That's all great, but that's our bread and butter.
it is.
And we
Well, I
need to
like to
address
tell a little
that.
story about that too. When we had Friendly Fields General Store, which was very motorcycle friendly, and we worked with Ron and Nancy Johnson, and this was before, 28 was the Hellbender, and we worked in promoting motor tourism almost exclusively, although we did get the campers, and we got the hikers, and we got the art people, we got a diversification of tourists. So in the cabin next door, this group of Coast Guard guys that have been coming here for years and years and years and bringing new folks, word of mouth from the motorcyclists. Some of them would trailer their bikes, some of them would bring their bikes. One guy called me on Monday and said, hey, do you remember me? My name's Carl. I bought 60 acres over off of 129, and I also bought a farm and 2 cabins off Sawyer's Creek. And would you be interested in helping me to find out who the gravel people are and who the electricians are and, who cleans cabins? So I am not exclusive of motor tourism. All I'm trying to say is that we have a limited budget and we have no plan to spend it. This past year was the first time we ever even had a budget workshop. And then everybody votes on the budget, and then they complain because the expenditures are what they are when that's what you voted on. That's
I just think they're over.
That's my
I think I hear
thing.
the complaints coming with the budget and when
Yes,
it's
and I want the
deviated,
budget
when
to be in
the
line too.
expenses are deviate from the budget.
Right.
Where I worry about the budget for next year is that we're gonna use the whole budget that's been set up all the way to June, which was a $15,000 rollover from the previous year. We're not gonna have that come June.
Right.
There's not gonna be a rollover. So that means
And we have to
it
bear
all
that in mind
shrinks,
right
but we
now.
still got all the
Barry.
fixed costs.
You make a good point. We have to bear that in mind with our expenditures now.
Right.
It's,
I gotta say, I drive around to all these other counties, and they've got a travel tourism building. I mean, what is going on with Graham County? I mean, that's
Well,
just,
it's how we spend the money.
it is,
Once
it's how
again,
we spend the money.
if we can't get our advertising right, build a visitor center.
Well, that would be a good way to redirect. I think at least it'd be an asset.
Yes.
How many other
All
counties
right.
that surround us are publicized in that, do you know?
All of them. They all don't have an $18,000 ad though.
right.
I don't
No,
have
I
an
imagine-
$18,000
I
ad.
imagine Swain County has a
9,000.
lot bigger
Shared
ad than
ex-
that.
uh,
I imagine
Fontana.
Swain County has a lot
Fontana's
bigger ad
benefiting
than
from
that.
it more than we are. That costs
Well,
us
I've already
I
had
keep-
calls,
I keep
so.
hearing this thing about Fontana all the time, but the one question I would ask is based on, I'm just, like I said, I'm just sitting back listening to all this now. So, but the one question I would ask is, how much of the occupancy taxes does Fontana pay on an annual basis also?
It's less than 50.
About 60%.
No, it's less than 50.
It's close to 50.
It's close to
Close to
50.
50, so I mean, it's just, and I'm hearing a whole lot of what feels to me as an outsider looking in, just starting, instead of it being about Graham County, of it being tit for tat, quid pro quo. It's not people looking at the county as a whole. It's, ooh, is that one getting more marbles on the playground than me? And it's driving me crazy, to be honest with you. And I've only been listening to it for a short time.
To Donna, to address that is actually exactly my email to
Yeah.
Tabitha the other day,
I just-
is that, we have a situation where the Nennies and the Miatas both go to Fontana, as well as.
But they fill up the whole county, it's not just
That's
Fontana.
right, and that's exactly why I am in favor of 600, plus cars coming to this area, because they're gonna generate a lot of
Yeah.
income, no problem. But what I'm saying, what I addressed in that situation is that, you've got a situation where we seem to be blowing a lot of money in areas where we're not getting a lot of results. And also that we should be, if you're gonna do for Fontana, you should at least do for, Two Wheel Inn, for, Ron
We put those
Hanson's business.
proposals out there for people to ask for money, John. That's the whole reason why we.
Well,
do
I
it.
think that people are reluctant to that, to be
Whole thing
thinking
is
that,
there's no money there.
that there's favoritism because it's not being dispersed equally amongst all of the accommodation partners. The 400 that I asked for to pay for a van, I went ahead and paid for it, because I just didn't want to be going to that well and being accused of, well, the Iron Horse got some money, so until we ferret all this out, I'm just gonna do my own thing. But I think that we need a plan that apportions this money out equitably, so that everybody benefits.
It's called a marketing plan, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm all for it, but, and as long as we
need a
stick to
marketing
it.
plan.
And I think we need to trim a lot of areas and get things more austere,
I agree.
and put the money into the areas where we can see some physical results, if it's.
And wherever taxpayer in Graham County benefits from it.
Mhm.
Every
Well, there you
dollar
go.
that's spent in
Yeah.
this county, every one of us benefit from it.
There you go.
Not
They
a
do.
lot from
Yeah,
some.
maybe figure out
That's
how
good.
you can, okay, there's times of the year when maybe Fontana does have the upper hand on things that are going on where it's more
Well,
over
right
there.
now, it's the winter
But,
time,
you
they're the
know,
only
but-
people that
But,
have
you
an
know, try to
activity.
think about in terms of at other parts of the year, there's something going on that's more towards Snowbird, more towards Laurington County. I mean, there's just, to try to figure out how to, figure out something
it
that's gonna,
equitable.
all the assets, because there's gotta be different assets, different things, like fishing season is something, and try to just get it all out there for all different parts for the whole year, so that it's, it's the county as a whole, not just,
That's why we're here.
right.
And I will say that I'm not anti-Fontana. God bless them, they got a huge investment. They need a return on investment, otherwise they'll go away.
And we need Fontana.
And we do need Fontana.
We need Fontana.
I mean, we can't handle
We need-
groups of 600 people
Right.
plus.
Now, and these
They
groups,
can.
just so you'll know, since they have been cut from about 3,700 down to 2,500, they are looking at other places right now. They might not return to Graham County if the funding does stop, because there's no reason to come to Graham County now.
So
They
we
don't
gotta
get
pay 'em to
help.
come.
There's no reason.
Well,
to
again,
come
that's my
It's-
comment about, if nobody read my email, it was about being extortion money. We call it extortion money, in order to attract groups. We don't want to lose the mini business or the Miata business, but if that's the only reason that they come here,
It's not the only reason why they
well,
come.
that's my
Again,
point.
as director, and because I do this every single day, 40 hours a week, every week of the year, what I'm trying to explain to you is that my job, when I'm being discussed with
I wouldn't
in
have put the
conversations with these
dissenters
people.
in the county that, to that barrier.
John, as
between-
much flack as I've taken from
Well, don't
that
deflect
group
it.
and the ugliness,
I would
I just decided to keep it real short and concise. I
Well-
gave no background information about
When
that.
you, no, I know that,
But
and
what I'm
that's fine.
trying to say is when I'm talking with that individual, I'm trying to keep him with our county so they don't go look over in Knoxville or
They need
Maggie
to
Valley or
understand-
anywhere else.
They
They
need to
understand.
understand that, again, that their contribution to the county is appreciated, but that, if they're gonna ask for 2,500 or 3,000, whatever, it comes at an obligation that they should come here And that, you know, basically, they understand that it's worth something, that they're going to get a, you know, quid pro quo situation, and something, you know, in mutuality.
Well, with this particular group, what has been discussed this week is doing an impact study with them, where let's say it's 600 couples, let's just say it is, just 500 couples. So you take a statistical analysis that would verify data, say 10%, so that's 100 people. And I asked them to come into a roundtable session. And during their stay here, whether it's 3 days, 2 days, an overnight, or a week, whatever they decide, I have them save every single receipt that they spend on this trip. They sit down with me, we fill out all these numbers, and we also find out, group, because this is going to be kind of interesting, did they eat in Graham County or did they go to Bryson City? And in that impact survey, it will be asked, why did you go to Bryson City? And you know what I'm leading to.
Too.
So if we want proof in going forward on an agenda that's going to expand the county, the impact study of getting these receipts and having people turn in a statistical anomaly of whatever group, and I plan on doing this for the Minis, the Miatas, and any other substantial group that is willing to, you know, 60 people, okay, we need, you know, 10% of you to sit down here, come turn in your surveys to me, and let's find out what the impact of these groups truly are. What is their spending capability when they're here?
There's another part of your email to me, or about to the board and to Barry, was the fact that we had already approved, just as Beth had said, we've already approved that budget, so why did we even have to
Because
go
Becky
down
made
that
me do
road?
it. She was not paying the bill, and that guy said, I'm looking to open up my pre-registration on Friday. I cannot open it up if the check is not
Well,
coming.
I think everybody was 100% that everybody voted that they should.
Yes. Well, we
go.
have-
Yeah, but
The
again, it's a
expenditure in the
formality.
budget.
If she's not gonna pay the bill, then I've gotta get on the honker and get things done.
Well,
Otherwise,
and the reason for that, and Becky's not here, was the bill that she paid for $9,000 that she didn't have the money to pay.
yeah.
There
So
you
as
go.
of November, unless you give her a directive, board, she's not paying anything over 500 unless you tell her it's okay if it's approved in the budget, which Connie says she's gonna talk to Becky about.
To the last part of that, to answer that that question, is we need to continue to market to other groups besides the Minis and the Miatas, because they eventually will go away. Just as every group that comes to Iron Horse will eventually find higher ground somewhere else, because
Right,
they've
you have
been
to have
here
other people ready to
11,
put
12
in.
years at a time. You can't expect them to continue to come every year. It's just not gonna happen.
True.
So, you know, to rest on your laurels is a problem.
Well, rest on your laurels is a slap at me, because I'm doing this job 40 hours a week. I'm not resting on my laurels.
Well,
and
I'm
it's
saying
more
the
than
county.
40.
I'm not
But
saying you
we're the
specifically.
county for travel and tourism.
That's right,
It's us.
and we need to be looking ahead.
Yeah, and that's
And
why I think
once
we need
again,
to
back
have,
to our planning for them.
I think we need to
But
have the
marketing
workshop
plan.
meetings, and we need to start doing some work.
We should be reaching out physically to all these other, I gave you a
Yeah.
list, I think at one point in time. There's a list out there of all the hundreds of motorcycle clubs that are out there in the United States.
I have
Hundreds.
15 pages of 30 people
Thousands
in
of
each
There are
one
thousands of them.
that a dealership
And
gave me those mailing
boom,
things.
I'm saying no more. I mean, there's your lead, there's your farming right
Those are
there.
free.
That is
All you gotta do is
free.
get on the form.
That's right.
It's nothing but time.
Or call the guy that's
Yeah, the
listed
administrator.
as the ringleader, like this Barry's counter.
Times 30.
Make a phone call. You know what, there's 40 hours a week, and it would take maybe, 10 to 15 minutes to make a couple phone calls to any one person. If one call, if he doesn't answer, call him
Oh,
back.
another one.
That's right. Get an email, hit him with an email. And I'm not gonna tell you how to do your job.
We did a mailing to 450 motorcycle shops already.
Good,
Yes.
that's great. Now, you know what?
Need to follow up.
Yeah, and we've got groups that are coming to Iron Horse. I'm speaking personally, and all we address is just the motorcycle groups. But we have groups that cancel, and we have groups that, man, I've been waiting to get into your facility. We're in.
And
Thank
you did 450 mailers to whom? What was that?
This was a sheet that was shared from the Blue Ridge Parkway
You had 450
motorcycle dealership.
dealerships. Okay, thanks.
Because they know the people that they can sift this information.
But there
to.
again, your motorcycle clubs, they travel together.
It's the
Yeah,
clubs,
but
driving,
they
not
get the stuff at
dealerships.
the dealerships a lot of times.
Well, the
when they come in
dealerships
and
will
it's
pass the
laying out.
information
Yeah, but-
along sometimes, because a lot of the
That's a
hog
start.
groups have hog ride captains, and they are the ones that actually the information should filter down. But sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't matter. There's an endless array of business opportunities out there in farming. This is, you know, marketing 101, like knocking on doors, calling, making phone calls, and did it for, you know, again, 37 years in my packaging career.
Salesperson too.
Okay,
When was that sent?
and it was free.
When were those sent?
When did that guy give me those?
So rather than waiting people, you know,
It's
for
been
people to,
sometime in the past 4, 5, 3 months. My,
3 to 5 months?
Yeah.
Have you had any, response?
no, because we basically said, could you please, you know, get these out to the different riding clubs and let them know about our area, we'd love for them to come and ride.
Tabitha is a tax collector for travel and tourism. I got a question, the Mini Coopers that are coming first weekend of May, is that scheduled the same date as the hill climb?
I'm not really sure off the top of my head, Barry.
I heard that it was scheduled the same, I'm just trying to find out
It almost
who
happened
scheduled the
last
same
year.
weekend.
Well, it
Because we're gonna
almost
wind up
happened.
sending people out of the
Yeah.
county.
And it's not.
It
there's no
almost
way to control
happened.
it, though, because they're the ones that set their dates. You could tell them what's about to happen, but.
And that's what happened last year.
the
We
Mini
had the
Coopers
very
keep their date
first
every year.
race of the hill climb season.
They
It
always keep it,
snowed.
yeah.
They didn't get to run
Yeah.
Sunday. They said they would never do something that early again. I've given them the
Right.
dates of when the other groups are here. And
Wasn't
again,
there
it's
where
not
you
my
could talk to
decision.
the Ted Theodore, whatever
I
his name
gave
is,
Ted
and
when
tell
the
him,
groups were here.
tell him to pick another weekend? 'Cause
I did. There
we'll
wasn't
wind up-
another weekend on their schedule open. Things were already scheduled.
I mean, I really don't benefit from it, but the other places would because of more motorcycles.
So is it
But
definitely?
last year, we wound up sending them
He said
away.
it is, so I'm just gonna take it.
The first weekend of May is the hill climb and the
Yeah.
minis.
But the minis have always come
Come, yeah.
in that period of time. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can't, if you try to tell them when they can, then they'll walk off. I mean, they'll say, well, we'll just go to Blunt County or something.
Well,
But
and
they're
if
gonna
they
wind up
know-
leaving
But
anyway
if
and
they
wind
know
up
ahead
moving
of,
their
but if they know
operation.
ahead of time, then they might be able to change it, but I'll be honest with you, as far ahead as they plan their stuff, the meetings are probably not gonna change this year.
And I know Ted has always been really, really good to work with us on anything.
Yeah,
that's scheduled.
everybody's gotten it out to everybody.
I
They
think
know
all-
they need to make their reservations. So
I think
shit,
all you
don't
can do
get
is
left
put it out there
without.
in both groups and let them do what
Well,
they will.
Ted set it in stone with somebody, you know, for the first weekend of May.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the feedback I'm getting.
But they each do that. I mean, there's nothing you can do, because we used to, believe me, at the lodge, it was like, be like, well, did you know that in other groups, you know, and they're like, well, you know, so what?
To not hold up Kim,
No, we're not going to, we're gonna wrap this up and go into closed.
okay, then let me finish through this, I'm so sorry. That's done. That's done. Nancy and I have run into a little bit of a hiccup with the website. And some of the things that I need to get done, her and Ron are very busy in getting their businesses ready for the spring. But there was an API link that was, this winter, we were gonna work on getting that in the website. So once we enter the information on the Visit NC, it pulls that information over so that we don't have double entry, labor hours, working doubly hard when we can work smart and let the API link work for us. So right now, currently, the events calendar is very skinny and looks rotten. And I wanted to see if the board could give some directive on that to her and I about what we can do about that API link so that the items on the website get completed and ready for spring. 'Cause
What do you
we're
need
missing
for
a
it?
couple of
Yeah.
items.
I never received any email about this, I don't know.
The board was in on that last email too, where Nancy said she gave some ideas. And I said, you know, in paraphrasing, you know, like this one, I think we're gonna stick with what we're doing here, and on this one, could we talk about this? And she wrote back that she was busy and to get all that stuff together, and then she would get a proposal together and give you guys a.
So what we need to do is get the calendar complete and then get back with Nancy to see,
That's an
What we did.
emergency item to get the calendar completed. And
Okay.
then the rest of it, you know,
who all do you need to contact? Fontana, the town?
no, I already have all the information and I keep entering on Visit NC. I just need the code to get this stuff pulled over and then to make sure it's working correctly. Because if it's not working correctly, then we can't do that. I'm gonna have to double entry anyway. But we need to at least give it a shot and see if it works. Because all the other people in, like Beth could probably pull this same API feed over to hers, and so could Teresa, and so could anybody else. And so nobody has to double entry.
So what do you mean when you say it looks skinny?
Right now, it just has the Chihuahua release dates on it. There's not been anything else inputted right now because I was hoping that this API would pull the stuff over that we've been trying to get entered in.
So basically, you need a security code, is that where,
That's
or
a long
sign in or
16-digit
something?
number. I don't know where it goes on
And
the
who has
WordPress site. I have it. But I just kind of, it just stalled right now because Nancy said she really didn't have time, but she
I
might have
told you
time.
that I would be willing to help with any maintenance, that you just needed to get to me what you needed done. That was all.
So you can get it to
The
Nancy?
big projects that you were talking about, the adding on the websites, all that, I can gather the information and present that to the board and let them know how much a major addition to the website would cost. And to keep the cost down, you need to gather as much information as you can on these group things that you want to add to the website and everything like that. You need to get everything prepared. Hand that over to me, and then I can tell you how much it's gonna cost. But
Okay.
just to add an API link, I
Right.
can do that. All you have
Okay,
to
so
do is
you
send it
say
to me.
you have the information, when can you can get it to
Yeah.
Nancy right now? And you can you can come back to us, okay, Nancy?
Well, I can just feed that into the calendar if it
Wonderful.
works. I can't
Okay.
guarantee it's
Yeah,
gonna
and
work.
again, we don't know
Okay.
if it's gonna work.
But in the meantime,
That's
I
why we're
mean,
doing
she
the
could
winter.
be, she could be entering in Joyce Kilmer Hikes, Friends of Joyce Kilmer, what else?
I have
The
200
Stakeholder-
things I have
The
to
Stakeholder
enter,
Valley
so.
Center, you're gonna have to enter those in by hand, basically.
Now, if that's if you put everything on the state site, the API pulls everything over, even
Have you entered in all the
Stacoa.
stakeholder events?
On the Visit NC for 2014,
Yeah.
yes, so it's all I have to do is go in there and tweak the dates, and it pulls over what we had as an
Okay, well,
updated.
Well, can we just see if the link works? Can
Yeah.
we like do one?
Yeah, I have a
with
bunch of
Nancy?
stuff hidden, so only
Okay.
2 things would pull over instead of like
Right, and
50.
see, and
I
then if
haven't
it does
released
work,
them to make, there's a whole bunch on hold, there's 2 that are released just to see if it works.
so you can test one calendar for one, wherever,
Right.
and then if
So
it works, then
do it.
Nancy could.
Right?
Yes.
I can pull it, just send me an email, I'll try to do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
but for
send
the
an
bigger
email to
projects,
Nancy, okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna waste my time until Tabitha
complete.
gathers all the information that she can
Okay.
for putting on, group travel information on the website and that.
And
She
you say
needs
you
to
have
do
it
that.
complete?
Yes.
And
And
that's
that's
what I
for us
said,
to
I
get
don't
this
have time
done.
to do all that stuff. She needs to do
Right.
it, and then I can show you guys what can be done.
Okay,
And then I'll give you a cost figure on how much it's gonna cost
right,
for me to do that. And then you
okay, this
can
is
tell me.
Thursday. If you can get
It's
that,
gonna
can you
work.
get that to Nancy early in the morning?
Yeah.
I will call me or I'll call you tomorrow, or how long will it take you to know?
Well,
What it
we're
costs.
talking about, I can get this API stuff, this other stuff, I have to gather it up, and I haven't had time with being sick, holidays, and then these public records requests that take 4 hours of every
Okay,
8-hour day.
you have to gather other stuff up that will take how long?
That I'm not sure,
Give me a ballpark figure.
couple weeks. It's that much information, if I have to gather it all. If I can just say, hey, there's some logos, and I want to kind of, if I can give kind of an
If she
estimate of
doesn't,
what we're looking at.
if she doesn't do it, I have to do it, and I will charge you for that.
I see.
Well, do we need to move in a second to do this?
No, I wouldn't
I
think
don't
so.
It's a directive.
I think it's part of
It's
what
just a directive.
Tabitha does. Yeah, so get it as soon as possible,
Okay,
okay?
so that is it for,
And let me know when you get it to Nancy,
okay.
okay? Just keep me in the loop, okay?
Okay, and then John, the motorcycle committee is the only thing that's not discussed before you guys go into closed session. Do you want to
Well, I'll
take
give you an
today?
update. Conversations around the county with various people, in particular Brad Talbot at the Otis Gap. He's done 2 motorcycle raffles in the past, both of which were dismal failures. So that was good information to hear from Brad before we went down that road. So in rethinking the direction that we should, this actually, I think, is a win-win for the county, what I'm about to propose. And that's that we come up with a plan to have some, like, the buck stops here in Graham County, and we apportion out whatever, we don't have to do 5,000, but we'll need some advertising money, because we should print some flyers and whatnot to give out to all the accommodation partners. And we might even do an ad or two in some small periodicals, but what I would say is that we provide like some dollars that would allow them to purchase or to get, for every night stay, that they get a certain amount of money that could be redeemed in Graham County. So there's no money in exchange, there's no liability. It's on them to come back and, you know, to take advantage of their win.
Can you guys get that together by our next meeting and
Yeah.
present it? That sounds great, so
Yeah, we'll
please do
move
that.
forward in that regard, and
All right,
I think that's the plan.
okay.
So you'll get in contact with the committee members.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would
that's-
think.
John will do that.
Wouldn't you have to get all the businesses though to accept a coupon or whatever, and then they present it to the county to get?
That's part of
what-
It's
Okay.
kind of like the Kohl's shopping, you see it on, they advertise the Kohl dollars they get, where
Yeah.
people shop there, they get so many Kohl dollars back, so they can, and they
There
can
you
always.
go.
But
Yeah,
It's great.
Then we also gonna need a date on this, or a deadline on that too, where it
And
don't
John's
run.
team will pull that together.
Yeah, we'll do it,
Yeah.
you know, we'll give them an ample amount of time to
Right.
redeem them, and there'll be an expiration, so
Okay.
that's the easy part. Again, it cleans everything up. There's
Okay.
no
John, do you
liability.
want just that committee, or do you want to invite accommodation owners to participate in that meeting? Or
Let
do
the,
you-
Not
let,
initially.
let the committee do it and make the presentation, and everybody then can speak,
Okay.
on it,
Right.
or if you have questions, if you have opinions, that's great,
We
okay?
may have a meeting before the next meeting in order to kind of
Pull that together.
get some more
Okay.
information going.
Sounds good.
Everybody benefits, by the way.
Yeah, I love that idea. We're good.
Keep the money in the county.
Yes, and that's where we need it to be spent, here. Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting and go into a,
you don't adjourn.
I don't adjourn.
No.
Okay, do I hear a motion to go into closed session under, Kim?
GS 143, 31811A6 for personnel.
I make a
Okay.
motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all for coming. Barry, stay well.
I will.